Hey everyone, it's Murray Rundus, the production manager here at CFN, back with a preview of the February paper. We say this a lot on the weekly news roundup, but the best way to contribute to CFN is to take part in that engine that keeps CFN rolling, and that is the monthly paper. As traditional Catholics, we need to be characterized as well-read, intelligent people who are informed with current events, and our paper provides a great avenue for that. Our premiere article is by Anthony Stine from Return to Tradition, who is back with a great look at Fiducia Supplicans. Despite what the modern Pope-splainers say, the traditionalist position behind this document is based on an overwhelming set of facts, and he does a great job of showing the entire situation, the problematic areas with the document, and the responses to it. If you want to understand this issue, check the article out. A big theme behind this month's paper is the development of liberalism and the response to it. For example, we feature Leo XIII's Libertas encyclical and a great look at Pius IX by Mark Fellows. And the reason why we're focusing on liberalism is it really is the cause for the collapse of the modern world. Many people like to say that the post-conciliar church is liberal, and oftentimes they mean that in the way that the Democratic Party is liberal, and in many ways that's true. But what's also true is that the liberalism of Vatican II is more complicated, it's more subtle. McCall does a great job of looking at the liberal distortions of principles of rights and freedom of speech. This is one of the greatest articles I've seen that deals with the natural versus civic rights that we have. If you want to understand how Vatican II and liberalism distorts the true principles of freedom and rights, I would highly suggest checking out this article. Again, as traditionalists, we need to have principled objections to Vatican II, and reading things like this can help with that. In another place, CFN's managing editor Matt Gaspers is back with the beginning of a series of articles about whether or not Pope Francis is really the Pope. Now, of course, Sedevacantism has been an issue within traditionalist communities for quite some time, but more and more, a different question is being raised. It's something termed Benevacantism, a theory promoted, for example, by Dr. Edward Mazza, that maybe the Pope Benedict resignation wasn't valid after all. This article handles this issue and gives the recognize and resist response to this position while making all the needed distinctions. You will see this position more and more, and so it's important to be aware of it and how to deal with it from the recognized and resist point of view. My own article for this month focuses on a passion of mine, which is Russian history, especially how it relates to the Ukraine-Russia conflict. I find oftentimes when this issue gets brought up, people act as if this is something that just started within the past 20 years, when in reality this is a deep-seated conflict really based on identity that goes back over 1,000 years ago. I try to look at the pro-Russian and pro-Ukrainian histories and try to judge it from a Catholic perspective, tying it in with Our Lady of Fatima's prophecy about Russia coming to the faith. If you want to know more about Russian and Ukrainian history, maybe give this one a read. A final article that I wanted to focus on here is by Joseph Apuzzo. Apuzzo does a great job of showing how the resistance to liberalism is not just negative, but positive, and gives a type of manifesto and history of something called medievalism, a set of ideas by 18th and 19th century traditionalists to bring the Western world back to its roots, to its original spirit. Joseph does a great job of connecting these ideas with the current traditional Latin Mass of today, that Mass which the post-conciliar church would have us do away with. And we have so much more, including a great book review of Michael Knowles' Speechless by Teresa Kalal, an interesting comparison between Ut Unum Sint and Mortalium Animos by Brian Mershon, and a great analysis of the Incarnation by Philip Campbell. If you want access to this vault of information, you can go to CatholicFamilyNews.com or click the link in the description. May God grant you all many joyful years and happy reading.